The secret of the player in the box is revealed. Recently, Netflix released new images for Season 3, and in one of them, we see familiar players gathered around a new box in the player's room. The strongest theory claimed that inside the box was the body of a player who did not survive the rebellion. The reason for this theory was the fact that another player was seen wearing a jacket that wasn't her own, but a jacket that started with the number 2, which most likely belonged to the missing player. Yet this mystery was revealed when some viewers noticed that the number, which is so clearly visible, is actually not the beginning of the player's number but the middle of it. The first number, which is 1, is simply hidden by the jacket wrinkles, and the last number looks very much like a 0 based on its shape, creating the full number belonging exactly to the current player. These new details transform the theory that the missing player is dead, making a stronger statement that he was saved by a soldier and will be rescued from the game. The question remains, who is the body in the box, and why do all the key characters react so painfully upon seeing it in the player's room? Now, to the interesting part, it can't be a certain player who was a significant part of the main team. The reason for this is that we can see that player's blurred silhouette in the background of the photo. Next, it's not another player, who, despite not joining the team, is set to play a crucial role in Season 3. The reason for this is that this player is also standing in the background of the photo. It also can't be any player who was previously killed in other games. For example, one particular player who was very close to another key player was eliminated during a previous game. Her body, along with those of other eliminated players, was already taken away by the pink soldiers, and it wouldn't make sense for them to bring the bodies back in a box to the player's room. Additionally, it can't be any of the negative players who are still alive, as their deaths wouldn't have such a strong emotional impact on the main characters. The most popular theory so far pointed to one specific player. However, the next details will completely disprove this possibility. The essential role of a soldier in Squid Game Season 3 has been highlighted multiple times. First, she is prominently featured on the main banner for both Season 2 and Season 3, taking off her mask and revealing her face. In the world of Squid Game, we know that anyone who exposes their face behind the mask is eliminated, as it goes against the rules. Yet surrounded by pink soldiers, she removes her mask, hinting at her rebellion against the system in Season 3. Another important banner recently appeared on Netflix, promoting the streaming of Season 2. Once again, this banner showcases the soldier with her face exposed, reinforcing that her role will be significant in Season 3. This soldier was always inside the walls and at the center of all events. Yet, while fulfilling her duties, she encountered forces from an underground trafficking operation inside the game, which made her change her attitude toward the deadly games and the people inside. She showcased herself as a cold-minded, responsible, and disciplined woman, yet she had her weaknesses. One particular player was someone she met before the games and whose story she knew perfectly. He entered the Squid Game to collect money and save the life of his ill daughter, who by accident became friends with the soldier. At the end of Season 2, we see how this player takes part in the rebellion and appears to be killed by one of the pink soldiers. Yet many viewers think that his fate could take a completely different turn. If this soldier was the one who shot him, she could have faked the shot so that it would only injure him without being fatal. In one way or another, she could have signaled him to pretend to be dead and had him transported in the box to the room where all the boxes are burned. Then, having access to all rooms, she could have helped him escape using the underground tunnels to lead him out of the walls. But even though all of this is based on predictions, the real fire started when the actress portraying Soldier 11 shared an exciting behind-the-scenes photo. In this image, she is sitting in a chair wearing her character suit. Yet, what caught the viewer's attention was another figure in the background. In the photo, a person in a pink soldier suit appears, and according to many fan comments, his face closely resembles player 146. This single photo became the reason why the theory about Player 146 surviving and continuing his story in Season 3 gained massive traction. The flood of comments and theories that followed eventually led the actress to remove the image from social media as quickly as possible. But even though it suggests that Player 146 is not the one inside the box, there are still 3 top players who actually could be. We'll dive into that in just a minute. And while Player 146 is likely alive, there are still a few more players whose deaths many viewers refuse to accept. Some expect to see Player 130 alive in Season 3. Let's check a few facts first. The death of this player happened quickly, yet we can understand some essential details. The fork that Player 333 used to protect himself reached the most severe area, the throat. Even though the moment of actual death was not shown and the credits rolled right away, we can predict that such damage would not allow survival. Immediately afterward, the speaker in the players' room announced the numbers of eliminated players, and we clearly heard Player 130. The prize money for these players was then added to the total prize pool. Even if we imagine that a wound in the throat could be survivable, there was no doctor inside the game walls to save Player 130. Even though the organ dealers claimed that this time they brought their own doctor inside the game walls, he would probably focus on taking organs out rather than trying to save lives. The actor who portrayed this character also confirmed his death, sharing in a recent interview how he liked the way it was showcased on screen. So let's forget about the theory that Player 130 might still be alive and coming back in Season 3. But if we heard from the speaker that Player 130 was eliminated, there is one player whose death was never officially announced, the one that viewers still refuse to accept. Player 067 from Season 1 remains one of the most debated characters, with many fans believing she could still be alive. Can it be true? First, we did not see her actual death scene. Yet, when Gi-hun came back to her bed, he saw Player 218 standing with a knife in his hand and Player 067 lying dead. Even though we did not see the exact moment of death, the severity of the throat cut left no chance of survival. Right after Player 067 was taken out by the pink soldiers, the screen showed an updated player count, which remained at 2. Additionally, the money for the eliminated player was added to the prize pool. Even if we imagine that a throat cut could be survivable, there was no doctor inside the game walls to save her. The only person who could have helped was the doctor involved in the organ trafficking business, but he was eliminated long before this moment. Even if we assume that Player 067 could be related to someone among the new players who might have influenced her rescue, all previous facts confirm her death. Comment below if you think these facts are enough. But the craziest thing is that the deaths of many players were foreshadowed from the very beginning. Player 067 threatened a detective with a knife to his throat after he took her money but failed to find her parents. Later, she is killed in the exact same way, her throat cut by Player 218. Player 199 stole money from his boss to help his family and send them back home. Yet, during the game, the person he trusted the most betrayed him, stealing his marbles, which led to his elimination. Player 101, while free, had to escape his pursuers by jumping off a bridge into the water. Later, he meets his end in the glass bridge game, falling from a great height alongside Player 212. Player 218, drowning in debt, attempted to take his own life in a bathtub but chose to return to the game instead. In the final Squid Game, after losing, he still ends his life on his own terms, this time by cutting his throat. It's clear that the beginning of these players' stories was tightly connected with their endings. In Season 2, we see the beginnings of 2 key characters outside the game, Players 122 and 333. Share in the comments. What do you predict will be the ending of their stories in Season 3? Even though we've ruled out who is definitely not in the box, let's now consider who might be there. Since Season 3, Episode 1 will pick up immediately after the failed rebellion, we can expect that the body inside could belong to one of the players who participated in the uprising and was executed for their actions. Another strong possibility is Player 390, who was Gi-hun's closest friend and one of the main characters at the end of Season 2. He